Hello friends, welcome back to Rajunotes channel, your weekend updates every week on Sunday. Today we will look at the updates from 3rd of April to 9th of April 2022. We are witnessing a lot of drama happening in our neighboring state of Pakistan. The Prime Minister Imran Khan was supposed to go through a no confidence motion. He somehow managed to get it cancelled, and the opposition then created a ruckus. Then the the Supreme Court of the Pakistan overruled the same, and now he has to go again into the no confidence motion, which is very likely to lose. But as I am speaking, as I am recording this video, he has called for an emergency meeting with his ministers to see if there are still any legal rather way out to him available. And the courts in Pakistan are also asking its advocates and other people to come in and open at midnight so that they can take a call on this issue. So probably I thought by this weekend we will come to know the fate of Imran Khan, which is more or less already decided but not yet formally. So maybe by tomorrow or day after we'll come to know as to who will be the next Prime Minister for Pakistan. Well, now coming on to a very good news as far as the Indian payment system is concerned. I am talking about the payment system RuPay, RuPay. Well, Nepal becomes the 4th country in the world to use India's e-payment system RuPay. We have recently seen how the SWIFT had cut off all the financial transactions from Russia, thereby putting a kind of a dent onto Russian economy. So this is what I have been always asking and wanting, that India should strengthen its own e-payment system. Well, if you really recollect, the RuPay card scheme was launched in 2012 as part of the Reserve Bank's India's vision to have a domestic, open and a multilateral system of payments. And people familiar with the project also say that the Nepal SBI Bank, or that is also called as NSBL, a subsidiary of SBI and Nepal's largest international bank, worked on the initiative for over a year with support from Nepal's central bank. And they also say that the launch of the card in Nepal will forge a new path to financial convenience and empowerment with the use of technology and innovation. And it will not only enable the ease of payment for the RuPay card holders, but also uplift Nepal's payment ecosystem capabilities. Well, this was after Modi and Deoba's talk, and Nepal and India have also signed a pact for renewal of a memorandum of understanding for supply of petroleum products for over a period of next 5 years between the Indian Oil Corporation and the Nepali Oil Corporation Limited. The weapon of mass destruction and their delivery system prohibition unlawful activities amendment bill 2022 was introduced in Lok Sabha on 5th of April 2022. The bill amends the Weapons of Mass Destruction and their Delivery System Act, which was brought in 2005. The 2005 Act prohibits the unlawful activities such as manufacturing, transport or transfer related to the weapons of mass destructions and their means of delivery. And what are weapons of mass destructions? Well, they are basically weapons belonging to either biological, chemical or nuclear weapon categories. So what are the new things which have come in this act? Well, it is the present bill bars a person from financing any prohibited activity related to the weapons of mass destruction and their delivery system. To prevent persons from financing such activities, the central government may freeze, seize or attach their funds, financial assets or economic resources, whether owned or held or directly controlled or indirectly controlled. It may also prohibit a person from making finances or related services available for the benefit of other person in relation to any activity which is prohibited. So this was passed in the Lok Sabha on 5th of April. United States, United Kingdoms, Australia are planning to develop a hypersonic missiles under the AUKUS. We have already seen what an AUKUS is and what is it doing. Now, what is happening in this field is basically that recently the United States has said that it had tested a hypersonic missile and plans to work on the weapons with partners, basically in the AUKUS alliance, which the Chinese Foreign Ministry had said that it will intensify the arms race in the Asia Pacific. However, one must understand and know that Pentagon's high-tech research body, which is called as the DARPA, Defense Advanced Research Project Agency, said that it had recently completed a free flight test of an aircraft launched hypersonic missile that maintained a speed of more than 5 Mach, or which can be said at 5 times the speed of sound. This missile flew for more than 555 kilometers at an altitude more than 19,800 meters. So basically that is around 65,000 feet. And according to the CNN, this test took place in mid-March, but it was kept quiet to avoid the appearance to escalate the tensions surrounding the Russia invasion of Ukraine. So this is being looked with I must say starry eyes of China and that of Russia, but certainly something is there. If you recollect, last year the Pentagon had said that Chinese hypersonic missile had circled the planet during a test flight before crashing into China. This point I had also covered, wherein India was also planning to rather planned a hypersonic delivery system. So that time Beijing insisted that it was a test not of a hypersonic missile but was a part of a routine spacecraft experiment. But we all know that the world is now moving towards a hypersonic missile system. So questions can be posed to you as to what is hypersonic missile systems and where are the countries in the world and what stage are they in at. News again now related to NATO. The Finland and Sweden will be welcomed into the members of NATO by the countries if the General Secretary of the NATO, General Jens Stoltenberg, said that if these two countries are ready, NATO is ready to take in Finland and Sweden. Well, again, this NATO has suddenly shot up to prominence, not because it is doing something great, but yes, it is there to antagonize China and Russia, and this is a new thing which is now started. What political and what military consequences this have, well, one must have to wait and watch. Akin to what Pakistan is going through, the Kuwaiti government is also going ahead of a no confidence vote in their parliament against the prime minister, and surprisingly this is the country's third collective government resignation in the past 1 year, and the worsening political crisis has blocked the critical economic and social reforms in the Gulf country. And Kuwait is one of the largest oil producer, and now there is a political turmoil in this country. US will certainly take an advantage of this, but what will come out of it we will have to see, because the final authority now rests with Kuwait's Amir. The Rajya Sabha on Tuesday passed Delhi Municipal Corporation Amendment Bill 2022 through a voice note. And this amendment bill amends the Delhi Municipal Corporation Act of 1957, and it was initially amended in 2011 and by Delhi Legislative Assembly to trifurcate the erstwhile Municipal Corporation of Delhi, and it was trifurcated into North Delhi Municipal Corporation, South Delhi Municipal Corporation and East Delhi Municipal Corporation. So the present bill seeks to unify these three corporations back, and it will be under one corporation named as the Municipal Corporation of Delhi. Well, in this, there were under this unification, there are a lot of powers which are given to the Delhi government as to it could decide the number of seats of councillors, seats reserved for members of scheduled castes, etc., etc. What are the zones, limitations of zones and wards, delimitations, and kind of a sanctioning authorities. All those things were included in the erstwhile trifurcation. Now all will come down, and now the number of councillors, the removal of directors of local bodies, or the special offers to be appointed by the central government, all these things will be taken care by unification of this bill. So one must go through this as to and understand what is the complete thing of the Delhi Municipal Corporation Amendment Bill 2022. I must say, taking a kick out of what is happening amidst the ongoing political crisis in Pakistan, Russian Foreign Ministry issued a statement, and it accused the United States of intervening in country's internal affairs, basically into the Pakistani affairs, and it says that US has decided to punish the I quote, disobedient, unquote, Imran Khan over his visit to Moscow. If you recollect, the day Russia was launching an attack onto Ukraine, Imran Khan was there in Russia on a visit, and probably that has been taken. It is basically Russia is taking a kick out of this news. Otherwise, we all know that Imran Khan had antagonized the actual rulers of the Pakistan, that is the armed forces. He had been trying to overrule the Pakistani army chief, and therefore he is being shown his place. So, but just that even Russia is taking side gigs of it. Amidst all this, the American White House Director of National Economic Council, Brian Deese, had said that India will have to face consequences because it is having more explicit strategic alignment with that of Russia, and he said that in long term this was very much detrimental for India, as the defense and everything will now be from the US. Well, India has taken a very good stand. India is now standing up for many things. We have heard our External Affairs Minister very categorically saying that we are majoritarily dependent on Russia for our weapon systems or our defense system, and all of a sudden it just cannot vanish and new systems cannot come into place. So whatever we have done is with the interest of the country. A news again coming to Russia. The Russian ruble, that is Russian money, has surged back to the levels where it was before the invasion into Ukraine. And if you recollect, the Russian ruble fell as low as 121.5 rubles per one American dollar, and now it has come back to 74.2625 per dollar. So if you see, Russia initially we thought will get into an the country might go into an economic crisis, but that was not the condition. Now it is coming back. The ruble has again come back to its pre-invasion level. So all is well from the Russian economy system is concerned, and moreover, Russia has already put a dent onto the petrodollar, which I kept on telling there will be something big, a very big news which will come out because of the loss in petrodollar, or maybe the deals which the Russia is asking to do with the Europe in euros instead of dollars. This is one subject which will be important and which we will have to wait and watch. The United Nations General Assembly has passed rather a resolution of taking out Russia from Human Rights Council of United Nations. Well, this was pushed by US, and this resolution received 2/3 majority, and of 193 members assembly, 93 nations were voting in favor and 24 voted against this motion, and 58 countries abstained from this process. And the ones which rather voted against this was the China, Russia, Cuba, North Korea, Iran, Syria, Vietnam, and those who abstained were India, Brazil, South Africa, Mexico, Egypt, United Arab Emirates, Jordan, Qatar, Iran, Iraq, Pakistan, Singapore, Thailand, Malaysia, and other countries. Well, India has abstained in the last 4 to 5 United Nations such gatherings, and wherein it has very clearly demonstrated that it is not for the war, it doesn't support any kind of a violence, but it also categorically says that India's own interests are important for itself and India stands by them. It's a very good step. India should rather do that way only. Amongst all these warring nations, a good news coming in from the Armenia and Azerbaijan. We had discussed this about 6-7 months back as to how this territory was under turmoil, and there was both the countries were going on to war. Finally, the peace talks over the disputed territory of the Nagorno and Karabakh have started following a meeting between the leaders of these two countries. Well, according to the statement by the Armenian Prime Minister Nicolae Pashinyan, the move came amidst the report from recent clashes in the region and 2 years after the large scale of conflict broke out there. So peace at any place is good. So at least this place close to Russia is now heading towards some kind of a stability. Yet another good news this time coming from Japan. The Hyderabad-based Bharat Biotech, which produces the Covaxin doses, rather has been recognized by Japan. The government of Japan has included the Covaxin in the list of recognized vaccines, and it further facilitates the travel from India to Japan starting from 10th of April, that is from rather Sunday onwards. So if you have taken a Covaxin, now you can move to Japan and that will be considered at par with the other vaccines. This news must be a good news for all the women folk out there. In a new trial conducted in UK's Cambridge, the skin cells of a 53-year-old woman were successfully de-aged, a reverse process of the age, wherein the 53-year-old woman's skin was de-aged back to 30 years old. Well, the partially rejuvenated cell showed a sign of normal behavior like a youthful cell in a wound simulation. The Babraham Institute is where this thing has happened, and the technology what is used in de-aging of the skin cells is the same which was employed to create the dolly. If you recollect, dolly was a world famous the first cloned sheep in 1996. So just imagine now if such thing happens, if de-aging happens, no more cosmetic creams and other things, and no more spending money on your packed things, but you just go for de-aging of your skin, and from 50 voila, you come down to 30 straight away. Do convey this to your better halves and your girlfriends also. The White House, amidst all this, again has says that it does not anticipate Russia to be suspended from the United Nations Security Council. Well, it cannot also, because Russia is amongst the 5 permanent members of UNSC and it has got a veto power also. I had been always talking about the United Nations Security Council, its relevance rather in the present circumstances. Is it really relevant? And with a veto power given to specific 5 people, there is no, I must say, there cannot be a common consensus wherein something can be passed. One or the other person will certainly put a veto power and nothing can happen. Now, in case if Russia has to be taken out from the United Nations Security Council, first Russia itself will put a veto, next China will put a veto, and there goes everything. So one can debate, and rather I will certainly want your views. What do you think is the present responsibility of United Nations altogether? Do you think the United Nations should be there or it should be disbanded, please do leave a comment whether you say what do you feel that, and should India try hard as what it is doing right now to get a seat into United Nations Security Council? Just leave a comment below. Very good thing, India's IIT Madras had launched something called as a Kadam. Kadam is basically the step what we talk of. IIT Madras researchers have launched India's first indigenously made polycentric prosthetic knee. It is a prosthetic knee and it will help above the knee amputees to walk with comfortable gait. It is designed with high strength stainless steel and aluminum alloy, and it is chrome plated EN8 pins with high fatigue life and polymer brushings. So the people who have got amputated due to various reasons, and especially in the armed forces wherein we have so many cases of the amputees because of the kind of terrain or the kind of the hazards in which they work, this probably will be something to look forward to for such kind of a people. And I for myself personally feel very happy for such kind of an things which have been made, and I pray Almighty that let first of all nobody should lose their limbs, but those who lose their limbs should get this thing and they should be able to get back with their life. Well, that is all my friends for this week's update. If you are listening to me, not yet subscribed to me, as usual I'll again come back and I'll say please help me by pushing that subscribe button. It will help me to reach out to larger people. However, if you think that no, I don't want to subscribe, then just please press that like button. It means a lot to me. Else write a comment down below and I'll be glad to answer that. Thank you so much for staying with me, and I will see you next week on the same channel. Till then, take care. Bye bye.